Hi, Mr. Smith. How are you doing today?
How's it going? How you doing? I'm doing good.
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. How has life been? Is anything new going on? Do you have any new plans going on right now?
Life's been okay. I just been going with the flow. You know, I just moved into a new apartment. That's about it. That's the only new thing that's going on so far.
Okay, are you enjoying the apartment? Is it better than the last one? How
Oh
you
yeah,
like it?
it's much better than the last one. I have a lot more room, so yeah, I'm living in a nicer neighborhood. So I'm very grateful for that.
That's always nice. Yeah, that's great. I know moving can be a hassle, but yeah, once you're settled in, it's nice. So,
hmm
what brings you in today? Anything in specific going on, or did you just want to kind of chat, or is there anything going on in your life?
Um, Really just needing to chat. Just need open ears. Just a lot of the people I've been growing up with, and a lot of my family members, passing away and having issues, and just it's kind of getting overwhelming. A lot of people that I grew up with, and like I said, family members just disappearing every day. It's just kind of weighing on my heart really strong right now.
Mm, that is very deep and understandable. Yeah, I mean, when it happens so often, it can kind of take a toll on you. So I definitely understand that and appreciate you being vulnerable enough to mention that. So, one second. How does this make you feel? Just knowing so much death has happened kind of around you. Like, what does that make you feel like on a day to day basis?
Um, I try, you know, different ways to cope with it on a day-to-day basis, but um, it just makes me, it just puts me down, and it just puts me in like a sad state of mind, and sometimes, I kind of fall into like a slight depression.
Yes, of course, yes. So, um, as you said, a slight depression. When is the last time? Is this like a daily thing, or is this a weekly thing, or kind of just up and down?
It's just like a up and down thing, certain things happen and makes me, remember the certain people who have passed away, or you know, just things make me remember them, and then it kind of puts me in like a sad state, and
Hmm.
and sometimes, you know, those sad state of minds last for days.
That's understandable. That's completely understandable. When is the last time you've experienced a day like this?
Just recently, about last week, I was sad, really sad. I didn't even go to work. Um, like last Thursday and Friday.
Hmm. And what does a sad day look like for you? Like, what does that consist of? Kind of just
Just
sitting in the house, or what does that look like? I know for everyone it's somewhat different. I know it kind of sounds like a strange question, but what does a sad day look like to Mr. Smith?
um, just not answering the phone, staying in the house, not eating as much. Um, looking at old pictures, going through memories, and sometimes crying by myself.
Hmm.
And if I have time, sometimes I'll even go to the headstones of my loved ones and, you know, sit and talk to them.
That's understandable. Yeah, I can see that. Looking like a sad day to some, and to others it may be a growing day because you're facing the sadness in a way, if that makes sense. So, when do you feel your best, not your best about the situation or the past experiences with death, but when do you feel like you're in a better headspace about it? Or is it every time you think about it, it's just kind of a rush of sadness or a day of sadness? Or is there any times where you have those good memories and sometimes it feels good to remember them that way, although they are gone? Is there any moments of that, if that makes sense?
Yes, sometimes I have moments where, it's kind of moments where I smile and it's kind of remembering them in a good way. And, it's not a lot of crying, but
Mm-hmm.
um, most days it's just a rush of sadness. And it lasts for a couple of days until, it kind of wears off.
That's understandable, yeah. And yeah, sometimes just kind of like getting through the day is helpful, and experiencing those emotions and then letting them be experienced and then kind of just getting through the day is somewhat helpful in a sense. So, on a scale of 0 to 10, what does a good day look like for you on a scale of 0 to 10? 10 being like a great day, 0 being just a horrible day. What would that consist of?
Um, I would say, can you kind of restate the question?
But yeah, I'll restate it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, when is one being the worst? When are your days at your worst? Like, what does that look like? Is that when you're
Um,
reminiscent, or is that like a
my days are when I'm having bad days, they're really bad.
mm-hmm,
So if one is the worst, I'd say like a three.
okay?
It's almost really bad, but I can kind of kind of tame the sadness by talking to certain people and
Mm-hmm.
you know
Manage to, you say a three because you still manage to get through the day, in a
yeah, I still
sense.
manage to get through the day. I don't let it get too bad, but
Mm-hmm.
you know it can get pretty bad.
Yeah, and that's understandable. So yeah, as you stated, uh, kind of just painting a picture somewhat for myself to better understand you as much as possible. So basically, what it sounds like is you've experienced a lot in the past, and it's been happening more recently, more frequently, and that is somewhat affecting your day-to-day life or sometimes interfering with that. Does that sound right?
Correct. That's perfect. Yeah.
So, as far as us moving forward, we're going to take, the proper steps and meet up again and try to come to some type of solution to better these days. And that's obviously not going to be a quick process, but, that's the ultimate goal. And not just to get things off your chest, but to get things off your chest and to better them over time as well. So, what we want to do is just try to come up with some solutions. And right now I was just getting a feel for what you were experiencing or are experiencing, and just kind of be able to paint myself a picture so that next time we meet, we can try to tackle these things together and just be able to somewhat establish a plan that can help us move forward,
Okay.
because ultimately that's what we want. So basically, I had to ask a few questions and, just try to get to understand your situation better. But we can meet again, and next time it'll be a little bit deeper and kind of more solution based.
Okay. So from now until our next meeting, what do you think? Are some small steps or some you know, some things I could do, like, from now until our next meeting, just to kind of help me, because this problem, is kind of urgent.
Yes, okay, that's a great question. Um, Basically, what it sounds like, we could be leaning towards moderate depression, and this is something that does take time. So, what I suggest from now is how you handle the situation. From what I've heard so far, it doesn't sound like you're handling it by drinking or smoking the pain away, which is always great. But just kind of like what you said, just taking it day by day. And then when you feel those feelings or have those days, recognize that. So that's always a great start for many of my patients, is just recognizing when you're feeling how you're feeling and not ignoring it. So you mentioned you have really bad days, but when they're bad, they're really bad. So acknowledge that and take the time for yourself on those days. But as we mentioned, it does interfere with our day-to-day life and doesn't become an issue, but it becomes an interference. So it's important that you recognize them, but we kind of develop coping mechanisms. So that can be, positive reminiscing and visiting the headstones and thinking positively, although that's easier said than done. So basically, what I would just say is, I'm a fan of journaling, or reminiscing and writing down past experiences with a loved one, and telling those stories. So it kind of depends on what works best for you. So if that's journaling, if that's trying to alter the thoughts from the person who has passed, or you know um, visiting a headstone, it kind of depends on what makes you feel the best in the moment. You want to do that more,
Okay.
if that makes sense to you. So right now we can kind of wrap this up and schedule our next session. Would this day work best for you next week, or does a different day work best?
The same time every week is this is pretty fine for
Okay.
my schedule.
Okay, I will get that written down. And thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope things get a lot better.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Russell.
No problem.